Hello everybody, this is HD Shaves here. I'm back from the video. Hope this finds you well and in good spirits. Well, stating the obvious here, but a lot of the US is seeing some colder than usual temperatures and perhaps some snow, things like that. So, I hope everybody is doing okay. And of course, it has to come right in the middle of Hanukkah and a couple days before Christmas. So, go figure. In honor of that, we'll be using Noble Otter the night before, in this case 3 nights before, and I do have the matching splash as well. I think it was 2020. Yeah, that would make sense. I was trying to find a Christmas themed soap scent that I really enjoyed, and I went through a few of them and they were kind of okay, but this one has really spoken to me the most, and the scent has kind of grown on me as time has gone on. Love the red soap jar. Noble Otter just released a different Christmas seasonal type thing, and they don't make this one anymore, but let me show you what the scent notes are right there, just in case you haven't heard of this one before. And those are the soap ingredients, and I do believe that this is V3. This is what the soap puck looks like after using it. Yeah, really kind of clean, sweet, but there's a little bit of kind of like a spiciness going on that I think plays nicely with the scent. For the brush, wanted a little scrub, so let's go for the Wolfman handle here with a Maggard synthetic 28mm knot. This is one of my scrubbiest synthetics, and so we'll see how that does. And then finally, we'll use the Maggard Shavette, which is it's a clone of a kind of Kai folding razor, and in this I have a supply injector blade. There are versions of this razor that use half DE, some that use Injector. I think the Injector ones are better due to the blade rigidity. So let's get some warm water on the face, and then we'll talk more about weather. This is maybe the most warranted time for weather talk. You all know that I will always say something about the weather in these videos, and it kind of has cracked me up since moving to the Midwest that the natives here, that's all they talk about. And most of the time, I don't think they really need to be talking so much, but this week, maybe there is quite a bit to talk about. So I had as I load the soap here, I had a hysterical interaction with my downstairs neighbor a couple days ago. We sort of ran into each other on the back steps, and that's always where we run into each other, and we'll usually just stop and catch up a little bit. But we don't know each other super well or anything, but there were a number of things in that conversation that just really cracked me up. And for context, he's probably 60, 70 years old. He's definitely retired, and I think he's lived in this building for 20 years or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, so we're talking, catching up, and he asked me, I think the first thing he said was, "You've been working a lot lately?" He was checking in, and I told him, yeah, I've had some gigs, and it's been a busy season, whatever. And he said, well, which places have you been playing? And he sort of quizzed me on the venues I had been working. And to my surprise, he seemed to be familiar with a good chunk of them. So perhaps that's why he wanted to know specifically where I was playing. So that was nice. He checked in about that. And then, what was the next thing? Oh, right. I asked him, I said, so what do you hear about the storm that's supposed to come in? And he said, well, I don't really check the news too much these days, and I'm not traveling anywhere, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Which is a classic, Midwestern Chicagoan answer. These people don't get worked up over much. And then he said the most Chicago thing I've ever heard, which is, I kind of like these storms because this is how you can meet your neighbors. And, everybody has to dig out their So in Chicago, for those of you who don't know, we have alleys basically everywhere, and so for a lot of people, they have their cars parked in the garage that lead to the alley. So the problem is, even if you have a garage parking spot, oftentimes the plows won't come into the alley in clear snow. They only go like on the main street. So you have to go out and dig your spot out so that you can get your car out of the garage, right? Um, and so he said, yeah, I like these storms because it's how you meet your neighbors. Everybody goes out there, you're shoveling snow, and then you have to take a break, and so then you can catch up with the people. And I just thought it was just the most Chicago thing I had ever heard. But that's the thing that I admire about some of the people here is that they persevere and they try to put a positive spin on things. And talking with him too, it reminded me of just the I think on average you could say that people my age overthink and worry about things more than people his age do. And it was just a good reminder that he's clearly less stressed in general than I am about things, and I think there's something to learn from that. Of course, I'm sure if I really spent time with him, we talked over a drink or something, like I'll find out that we maybe disagree on a lot of things, culturally, politically, whatever, but I can't help but admire how relaxed he seems. And I'm sure if I asked him, hey, how do you stay so calm, zen, relaxed? I bet he would say something like, well, that's the whole point of being retired, is you don't have to work anymore, so you don't have to worry about stuff like that, and you can just be yourself. I mean, I don't know, that's just, I'm imagining he would say something like that. So that was a funny interaction that I've been thinking about and reflecting on quite a bit this week. Again, using that logic, I know I've been thinking about it more than he's been thinking about it. He probably thought, oh, okay, I talked to that kid again, and he's all worried about the storm. He doesn't have any reason to be. That's probably what he thought. Anyway, okay. So in that time I talked about my neighbor, I managed to build up a decent lather here. Make sure that I know what we're going to do. That looks okay. Great. Here we go. So, the Maggard Shavette Injector blade copy Kai folding razor thing. Here we go. I haven't used this in quite some time, and I wanted to use an open blade today, but didn't feel like breaking out the straights and drop it and all that stuff. So if you're more familiar with not Shavette's other kinds of open blade razors, important to remember that the cutting width is a little bit more narrow, which in terms of safety, it's probably easier, going this way than the other way, as in probably better to go for a shorter blade than trying to go for a longer one and then you accidentally cut yourself. So yeah, I think this is the way to go. So what's everybody doing for the holidays? How's Hanukkah been? I am supposed to leave for the beautiful Bay Area tomorrow, but I'm not quite convinced that will happen. Specifically here in Chicago, a couple days ago, they thought that it was gonna snow like a foot and a half, or something like that over the course of a day going into Friday. And so I thought, well, my flight's Friday afternoon. So if it's still snowing, there's no way that the plane's gonna leave. However, in the last day or so, and still today with the projections, they say it'll snow today, Thursday, just maybe a few inches, and then not supposed to snow at all tomorrow. It's supposed to get bitterly cold. Like it's gonna drop. I mean, the temperatures are in the 30s right now. I had a nice little last morning run before. Who knows what's gonna happen? But it's gonna get really cold, like 0 degrees, negative temperatures, plus the wind. That's gonna be terrible. But in terms of the actual snow, it's not looking too bad. Okay, first pass done. We'll rinse and come back for a second one in just a moment. Pass number 2 with the night before. Okay, we'll do a second and final pass against the grain mostly. We'll start with the right hand on the left side. These scales are a little looser than I'm accustomed to, or rather I prefer the straight razors, but for straight razors it's more important for me that the scales are tight so that when you strop on the leather, the blade isn't wiggling around, and then the scales become more important on a pass like this. You're going to be holding them at a slight angle like I am now, but it'll work. So I'm looking forward to those days in the Bay Area. I think I am going to get out there even if my flight gets canceled tomorrow. I think I'm optimistic that I will get there eventually, just not maybe the originally scheduled time. The good news is I'm flying into San Francisco, and so there are a bunch of flights. Though we aren't going to San Francisco specifically, it just made more sense to fly in and out of there because of the convenience, and that's a really nice airport. If you've never been, it's just it's very clean, looks new, and I think because of the they have like a quiet gate policy there, so they don't announce your gate over the entire intercom. It's only at your particular gate. I think I'm remembering that correctly. And I was talking with a friend who lives there, and it was like because of the large Asian population there, those airports, like if you fly out of certainly Japan and maybe China, I don't quite remember what it was like in China, but in Japan, when you're at the airport, it's like silent, and just very different to what you're used to with most airports here in the U.S. So anyway, I really appreciate that quiet policy they have there at SFO. I think the lower noise level just makes it much more calming to walk through a terminal and things like that. That was my experience flying in Japan. I probably flew on, I don't know, 6 or 8 different domestic flights over the course of the month when I was working over there. And I just absolutely loved the experience of flying within Japan. Like I said, everything's quiet. And also, you don't have to get to the airport super early because everything is so efficient there. I mean, I remember, you know, we were traveling with Japanese sort of handlers, if you will, to make sure that we didn't get messed up in the airport. And I remember thinking that, okay, they're going to want us to get to the airport super early because, you know, they don't want to risk us missing our flight for whatever reason. But if I remember correctly, we would get to the airport like 45 minutes before our flight was supposed to take off. Maybe an hour. But it was just very calm and relaxed, and so that's my ringing endorsement for San Francisco Airport. Okay, 2 passes done. We're going to call that good. Hunker down, see what's going to happen with this snowstorm. But I'll rinse and come back and talk to you over post-shave in just a moment. Stay tuned. Because of our differing traveling schedules this year, my girlfriend and I decided to exchange gifts a little early, and this is one of the things she got me. A little mustache comb. Isn't that nice? And sometimes I like to think I have a little part in the middle, like in my hair, so I make sure that both go on each side. She also got me some little scissors for trimming and some argan oil to use as like a, you know, mustache oil kind of thing. She really wants me to keep this, I think, and so she's definitely going to make me consider it more now that I have these little handy-dandy products. Okay, let's use the matching splash the night before. This is a terrific splash formula. I say this every time I use it, but I really think it's the best alcohol-based splash on the market. I enjoy it so much that earlier this week I was using too much, and it was like enough splash for 2 people. So I just had to dial back how much I was taking out of the bottle. And, you know, you can put a little in the mustache too if you want. Oh, man, that's a great scent. I think the soap base does alter the scent more than other ones, but in the splash, the scent really shines through. So that's the night before. Later, I'll probably put on some moisturizer because it's going to be quite literally 0 outside later today, so I'll definitely need some moisturizer. Okay, to do a final recap, we used the night before soap and splash. We used the Maggard Injector Kai folding Shavette, really smooth razor. Definitely one of the better Shavettes I've tried. And then also the Wolfman WRB2, I think is the name, but the Maggard synthetic. Okay, everybody, thank you so much if you made it this far. Happy holidays. Stay safe with this cold, you know. My last bit about the weather is that it depends where you live, you know. I saw it was 5 degrees in Amarillo, Texas this morning, and 5 degrees in Amarillo is much different than 5 degrees here. People know how to deal with it if you're from a place like Chicago. People don't know how to deal with it if you're from Texas, right? So keep that in mind. I'm optimistic about how the next 24 hours are going to go. Maybe I'm overly optimistic, but my neighbor Jim, he set me straight. So anyway, thank you all so much. Take care. We'll see you again next week, I hope. Cheers.